and we have covered these logical operator. I think we just worked with this and, right? Now we need to work on or and then on not. Okay, so whenever we have multiple condition and we want, if any of the conditions satisfied, then execute a particular block of code, right? Then we can just combine those conditions with or operator. For example, we were working on this problem on last session. Let me just open that. I think I have lost that class in which we were just looking like user will enter percentage, and based on that we will decide his or her percentage. You remember, guys, we did this on last Friday. Okay, so let me take another example for this problem. So we are discussing logical OR operator. I'm thinking a scenario like a real-time scenario can be. Give me a moment. Okay, so we have a problem like we have to print some words like foo, bar, and one more is there, and a, for example. So when we want to print foo, when a number is a multiple of 3, if the number is multiple of 3 or 5, right? In that case we want to print, let me just write it here, print foo if the number is multiple of 3 or 5. Print bar if number is multiple of both, I mean 3 and 5. Right, we have these two conditions. For example, we need to work on this program, right? In case of a number, and what we are going to take, our input will be 1 to 100, right? Or let me just do one thing, instead of 1 to 100, user will enter a number, right? Any number, and based on that we will see in which condition that number fits, and based on that we will print foo bar. All right, so how we can do that? So first of all, we need to read a number from user. For that, what we can do is scanner equals to new scanner. Sorry. System.in, right? Then, okay, one more thing I want to do here is, like, if I say scanner dot next int, so what it does, it basically reads a number, right, and just go ahead, right? But what we want is, until and unless user doesn't press -1, let's assume it will keep asking for a number, and based on the input number we will be printing like foo or bar. All right, so for that we haven't covered while yet, but let me just write that. So don't worry, I'll cover this while thing later on. While, okay, so first of all what we need to do is, we need to keep this value that we are reading from keyboard or using a scanner into a variable. Let me call this number. Okay, now what we will do is, if number not equals to -1, right? Let me add comment as well so that you can guys understand what each line means. Scanner need for reading data from keyboard or from file, right? So in our case what we are using is system.in. System.in means keyboard or standard input device. System.in represents keyboard. Then in next line what we are doing, when we say next int, wait for user input and reads that input and returns us an integer, right? Okay, it wait for user input and reads that input and returns as an integer. So what we are doing basically, we are reading that number and we are putting that number into a number variable of type int. Okay, now we are checking until and unless the number is not equals to -1. Keep repeating until number is not -1. Keep repeating and asking a new number. Okay, until a number is not -1, keep repeating and asking a new number. So to ask a new number, what we need to do is we need to call this line again, right? And then what we will do here in between, read a new number. Okay, so whenever you use this next int or something from scanner class, we should show a prompt, enter a number, like I'm saying here. Are you guys following?
Yes.
All right, good. Okay. So basically it should be here. Prompt user to enter a number. Who guys have experience in Java earlier, so they don't really need these comment, but who are freshers, they obviously need it to understand. Okay, now what basically we need to do, we need to check if the number is a multiple of 3 and 5 both, then we will say bar, right? So for that, what we can do is if number modulus 3 and number modulus 3 equal to 0, that means the number is a multiple of 3. Does it make sense, guys? Please confirm. Okay. Now the next thing is number modulus 5 is equals to 0. Then we can say the number user has entered is a multiple of both 3 and 5, because we are using AND operator here, right? So what we can do is we can say print bar. Else if the next condition will be like any of these. So for that, what we need to do is we need to say OR operator, right? And then we will say foo, right? After printing foo or bar will come here and it will ask for a new number, right? And when we are done, let me just print system.out.println by anybody has any doubt in this program? Line number 14 and 16 same, right? 14 and 16, 14 and 16, yeah. Prasanthi, we don't really need line number 16 actually. Yep, let me remove it. Okay, now let me just run it. So I'm going to run this program. Yeah, and to run it, what we just need to do is just click on run as and Java application. So now you can see on console, it is asking for a number. Let me say 55. So for 55, we are getting foo because this is a multiple of 5, right? Now it is asking for another number. Let me call 15. Now this number is a multiple of both. That's why we are getting bar, right? Now again, it is asking for a number. Let me call 45. So 45 is a multiple of 3 and 5 as well. So we are going to get bar. Let me call, let me take this time 44, which is not a multiple of 3 or 4, right? So in this case, we are not getting any output, you can see. So for that, we can just let me add one more case. Like if the number is not a multiple of both, then we can have one more case here. Else any, right? Let me just run it again.
Sir,
Sorry?
Sir, your screen is not visible.
Sorry. Let me just share it again. Can you see it now?
Yeah.
Okay,
Thank
fine.
you.
So I believe you are not able to get the last run. Let me just run it again then. Okay, so I'm taking 55, which is a multiple of both. That's why we are getting bar. I'm taking 45, which is again a multiple of both. Then we are getting a bar. Let me take 50. which is not a multiple of 3. That's why we are getting only 4, because it's a multiple of 5. 67 Na, because it's not a multiple of 3 nor 4 5. That's why we are getting Na. Any doubt, guys, in this? So basically purpose of this program is to understand this functionality, the OR. Any doubt? Any doubt, guys? Repeat. Okay, Mohammed Danis, what I need to repeat? Please confirm once. The entire program or just the run? One second. So chat window is not appearing. Danis, you can unmute yourself. Repeat starting. Okay. Okay, fine. I got your question. Guys, instead of asking question in chat, just unmute yourself and ask your question, because it's very hectic to go in chat and read your message, right? Okay, so let me start again. What problem we have is basically we need to print foo if a number that user is going to enter is a multiple of 3 or 5, right? We need to print bar in case the number is multiple of both. It's a multiple of 3 and 15. Like let me take 20, like 15, right? And print NA in rest of the cases. So this is the problem basically. And for this, what we are doing, we have created one scanner object which will be used to read user input from keyboard, right? So if you want to read a number or a string from keyboard, what you can just do is you can create an object of a scanner class. So to create scanner class object, what we just need to do is we need to write this line: scanner equals to new system.in. So here this scanner, you can name it any meaningful name. Let me just take it this time keyboard. So you can take any meaningful name, like I'm taking KBD, which is basically representing a keyboard, right? But the type should be scanner. Okay, and one more important thing, like I'm telling you from the beginning, if you understand this, then there is no problem with this. I is a variable of type int, KBD is a variable of type scanner. Simple, right? Because in Java, a class is a user defined data type, right? We have just covered data types in last class, right? So when we say int I, means we are creating a variable of type int. In similar way, what we are doing here is we are creating an object of scanner. So scanner basically is a type. Getting my point, guys? Okay, now the next thing would be we need to prompt the user, like he or she should get a message so that he can interact with the program. So we are showing a prompt, system.out.println, enter a number. So whatever we keeps in println, system.println, it will be printed on the console in the same way we have written it here. All right, then to read that number which user is going to enter, what we need to do is we need to say scanner object and next int. If we want to read an integer, like if you provide a wrong input, what will happen? Our program will crash, right? So we can manage that scenario. I'll teach you like later on how to validate your input. All right, then we are keeping this number into a number variable. Then we are checking in next step if the number is not equal to -1, right? And then if the number is not -1, then we are doing this stuff like check if the number is a multiple of 3 and 5. If it is, then print bar. If the number is a multiple of 3 or 5, then print foo, otherwise print na. Right, then again, because we will run this program until user is not gonna enter -1. So again we are reading a number from user, so we are again showing a prompt, and then we are reading a new number. So whenever we say kbd.nextInt, it means we need an input from user, right? And finally, when we say -1, program will say by this last line and execution will complete. Enter number or enter -1 to quit. Let me just show this message as well. Okay, so you can see here this red icon where my cursor is. So basically the program is running. You can see a smaller hover text which is saying terminate. That means it is saying, do you want to terminate this program forcefully? If you want, then you can just press it. Otherwise, the program is running and it will keep asking until or unless you are not going to enter -1. Let me take, so I'm taking 555. That's why I'm getting foo, right? Now let me say -1. So when I say -1, what I got is input mismatch exception, right? But we were not expecting this. So this is kind of scenario like we are not handling yet. For example, if I say it is asking for a number and I say this, so this is not a valid input basically. So what we are going to get is input mismatch exception, and the similar thing we are getting with -1, but it should work with -1, and if it is not working, then we need to look for another solution. So for quit, I want to just say -1. Yeah, but why it was not working earlier, I'm not sure. Let me run it again. So you can see for this time, when I say -1, we just got by because the condition was failed, right? And we are here at line 36 and just saying bye, and then our program is completed, right? Anybody has any doubt in this? Please confirm, guys.
I don't have any doubts.
Okay, let me just post this in chat so that you can just copy it. Okay. So we have just looked over an example of OR operator, like how we can use it. And with this, we have just revised our AND concept, right? Okay. Now I'll give you some questions like when we have both these operators, and you need to just tell the output. So basically, there are some tricky questions that might be asked in some exams, like in written test, or if you are appearing for OCJP, then there might be a chance you get this kind of questions. So I'll discuss those questions later on based on and or, right. So most probably in next session we will discuss those. Okay. Now let me just take example of not, like where we can use not operator. I think we have just done. No, this was not equal to. Okay. So basically not is another operator in category of logical operator. So what it does basically, it converts post and part one more time. Mamta, I didn't get what do you mean.
Can you repost once again, like last part of that program, like last
Okay.
one, read a new number from that onwards.
Okay. So it was not completely with you.
Yeah,
Like I said it partially. Yeah.
yeah, yes.
Okay. Let me
From
just
read
print.
a new number from that time, from there onwards.
Okay.
Was
Let me just post the entire program again.
okay.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. So let's discuss about this not operator. What it does basically. So not is an unary operator. If we want to use this not operator, what we can just do is, or what we need basically to operate this, we need only one operand. And what it does basically, it converts. It works like an inverter. Right. So what inverter does, guys?
Provides backup.
Have you ever heard these terms? AC to DC, DC to AC. Inverter. Guys who are from electronic background, they might have some idea about this. Okay, if it is confusing you, let me just go technically. So we have true and false, right? If we say not true, so it will become false. If we say not false, it will become true. Or simply just understand like 0 to 1, 1 to 0. That is the purpose of this not operator. Getting?
Yes.
Please confirm. It works like an inverter. Like if the value is true, it will make it false. If the value is false, it will make it true. Any doubt?
No.
Okay. Now we'll see the another category of operators, that is bitwise operator. So bitwise, in bitwise, what we have is we have bitwise or, bitwise and, bitwise X or, left shift, right shift, and one more is there, left shift with fill 0. We have or and XOR, left shift, right shift, left shift fill with 0. So anybody have ever used these? Any idea, like we have these operators in C language as well?
Sorry to interrupt you, Anuj. The last program is still not complete.
I'm sorry, let me check what is the issue basically here. I'm doing Control A, Control C, and I'm doing Control V here. Yeah, you're right. It's not basically the thing, not allowing me to post our entire code. It's not. So what we will do is I'll create a Git repository. All right.
Okay.
Anybody have any idea like what is a Git?
Yeah, Anju, I have an idea on Git.
Okay, so Git is basically a repository or version management tool where basically it is used for collaboration and tracking, like for example, on a single project multiple developers are working on a same file, so we can just check what are the different changes one person has made in past. So it keeps maintain the version history, like what was the older version, what was the older version. So we can just use Git in that case when we want to collaborate in a project and multiple developers are working on the same project, right?
We still see program page only. Are you sharing anything?
No, I'm not sharing anything. I'm just giving you brief idea like what is a Git.
Okay. Can you explain more about Git?
Okay. Git basically a version management tool where we can keep our project, our files, right? And what generally happens in projects, we keeps changing in files, we keep adding files. Like I have added one file,